Hello, welcome. It's Tuesday, January 24th, 2023. My name is Kurt, and this is Rudy, and this is my Good Life meditation video. This is something that I do every morning, a little bit after waking up, to prepare for my day by recounting and thinking about my life objectives and principles. I also think about how I did with yesterday's challenges and opportunities, and then plan for the coming day. Oh, you're awfully snuggly. Yesterday and last night I slept pretty good. Well, during the night I did. And was to bed in time and got up with the alarm, which is nice. Not waking up early worrying about work. The day's work went well yesterday as well, and had a good run on the beach. I didn't swim yesterday. I just ran out of time. And, well, it was cold, frankly, to be honest. I'm a little ashamed of myself that I didn't follow through, but I did run. That's a suitable substitute if I don't swim. Optimally, I do both. Okay, let's do the good life. And good morning, Parker. First, my 7 objectives. These are as follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. To have everything in pretty good order. My life affairs, my relationships, and my personal ambitions. If not finished, then at least done, and so that I can die and pass on and not leave a mess for my wife or daughter, or not leave anyone relationship that could use some better words, or my life's work being in a steady, good state. And if it feels like I'm doing this awkwardly this morning, it's because I am. I mixed it up. I decided to deliberately try to not do the good life through that rote mechanism that I do every morning. I'm trying to break it up a little bit. It has the funny effect of making everything a little more spontaneous, a little less in control. Don't know that I like this necessarily. There's something about the more sedate method of doing it the way I'm familiar with it. But I'll carry on with this experiment for today. Now, let's go ahead and do the good life. My 7 objectives are as follows. Number 1 is to be always ready to die. To have my life in a good place where my affairs are in order, my relationships are good, and my life's work is in a state that if I die, if it's not complete, it's at least done. That means it's in a stable, steady state. As suitable as I could possibly make it for my absence, my permanent absence. 2, to make good and effective use of my time. This second principle suggests that I not waste my life and fritter it away on things that are mere distraction and entertainment, but to find good ways to capitalize on the day in terms of virtue in particular, building upon the well-being of thinking creatures, increasing that. 3, to develop and maintain good and sound life principles, which is what I'm doing right now as I do this exercise. 4, to cultivate good emotional reactions, to become someone who reacts well to the world around me and the circumstances I encounter. 5, to perform good actions, just to do good things throughout the day. 6, to recognize my true limits and my true opportunities so that I'm focusing on things that are within my grasp and not so worried about things that are beyond me. And 7, to do just one thing at a time and do that thing slowly and deliberately and carefully. Here, come here, you can come lay down here. Might be a little more comfortable for you there. There you go. Okay, come here. No. You're very particular, huh? Yeah. Next, my 34 principles. Number 1 is to be is the principle of war. To always be fighting against what I think is true, and holding things that I already believe to be true with reserve. 2, the principle of reason, and the sub-principles of honesty, objectivity, doubt, and humiliation. reason is the tool that I use, and the metric and the measure that I use to gauge whether something is true. And to use it well, I need to be honest with myself and others, objective in my worldview, looking at things with good scrutiny, doubt. I want to be a skeptic, and I want to be willing to accept the humiliation of discovering that I'm wrong, and be grateful for that, even if it hurts. Number 3 is the homunculus, my idea in place of a soul, because I don't think I have a soul, or I don't think that any of us does, but I do suspect it does seem that I do have a consciousness. Seems like we all do, at least while we're conscious. And that's the thing I focus on. Next is the Anchorhold, a reminder that the homunculus, my consciousness, is trapped within me and will never get out, and will die with me, and will be gone absolutely after death. Next is the home of good and evil. Right and wrong, I don't believe, pervade the universe, but instead are ideas that we maintain and keep in our head, and are subject to our own bias and interests. As such, I need to attend carefully to the reasons for that I believe what is good and bad, and maintain that and work at it, tinker at it. Next is the atomic principle, the principle of purpose. I have 3 purpose in life. These are to be a good husband and father, to be a virtuous man, where virtue again is seeking after the improvement of the well-being of thinking creatures, and then to be pursuing my own individual purpose in life, which for me is the sharing of my mission in my book, Going Alone, and the resulting Good Life Creed contained therein, which I'm discussing right now. Next is the atomic principle. Everything is made of bits and pieces, atoms and molecules that will all fall to pieces once death arrives, or even before then. I already feel my body starting to fall apart. Then comes the principle of nature. Everything in the universe has some particular nature, including us. And then the pirate ride, my observation that I think that free will is an illusion. I don't think we're free. I think we're compatible with the universe at large, and our decisions reflect the influence of the scope of what's happening around us all through life. And then the principle of maturity, a state that we can arrive at when we have the wisdom of our past successes and failures, the fortitude to do better, and then can enjoy the resulting integrity of a life in a balance and accord with our values. Next comes the social principle. We need each other. It's important to have relationships and connections, and to that end, we need to also work together diplomatically to reach agreement about what constitutes justice, and then work together, conspire, in fact, to make that justice something real. Okay, next comes the principle of family. It's important to have a family. It can be the traditional type, or it can be whatever you create. A family, in my mind, simply being the collective connections that we have with a group of people. Then comes public speaking, the effort that we make to be able to communicate well, including listening well. The sub-principles here are best words, developing a rich and deep vocabulary that we can then use well. Prudence, the ability to filter our communications through our values so that they are, what we say and propose is in alignment with our best values. Felicity, filtering our communication through our emotions so that it reflects and seasons our communications are reflected and seasoned with how we feel in proper measure. Eloquence, something that's gained through modeling and practice, watching others who speak well, and then making efforts and ongoing efforts to do so ourselves. It's like learning the guitar, practice and observation, modeling, and improvisation. And then 2 negatives are to avoid regarding communication is to not spread rumors and to not engage in gossip. Next is temperance, the ability to control our consumption of all things in life, including our time. Next is the life will not go well. Life's going to have speed bumps all along the way. Be ready for it. The horror show is next. Some of those speed bumps will be gaping chasms that will perhaps swallow us or our loved ones whole. The horror of life. The next principle is that which must be borne, carried. And what we have to bear and carry in life is the fact of the horror show and that life will not go well. Then comes the Feast of Offal. It's something I try to avoid, which is the engagement of spreading my upset over the people that I love or care about, or even strangers, anybody for that matter. And I try to avoid consuming the upset of others when they display that publicly. It does nothing but soils one another. So I choose to hold it in, find other ways to deal with my upset. And then when others are doing the same, I keep my mouth closed. It doesn't mean I don't attend to them. It doesn't mean I don't help. It doesn't mean I don't offer them a tissue and a shoulder to cry on, but I don't swallow their upset, because that then contaminates me and leads me to do the same. Next comes distraction, which is what we do so that we don't have to witness the emptiness of the universe, which is the next principle called the great indifference. Then comes the best seat in the house, to strive to be all right with who I am, where I am, and what I'm doing. All the while striving and working to be better. Next comes the restless man. That sense and feeling that we have in our mid to late teens through our 20s that we want some adventure in life, some story to call our own. If we embark upon that, then we step upon what I call the path of wildness, which is the venue and segue from one life circumstance to another. It's a lot of fun, but it's also dangerous, fraught with risk. The great life adventure, the next principle, is what we get as a result of our decision to get upon the path of wildness. And that adventure might be one full of lots of positive or some scary negatives. It depends. Either case, you win. Even if you don't survive it, you still win in a way. It's a strange thing. Next comes the risk of avoiding risk. If you are a restless man or a restless woman and you don't engage in a great life adventure by way of the path of wildness, then you'll probably have a price to pay later in life in terms of regret. Watch out for that. It can be deep and seemingly everlasting. Conversely, if you go too far and deep into the adventure side of life, you may miss out on the important elements of creating a family and a home and a career and a job and stability and saving for old age and having a rich and full life in the social sense as well as the adventure sense. It's a tough thing to balance both. It's the risk of avoiding risk. Or too much risk, maybe. All right, next is sin and damnation. In my worldview, there are 3 broad categories of sin. Being untrue, believing things for bad reasons, and engaging in poor communication, such as rumors and gossip, spreading rumors and engaging in gossip. Specifically, these are falsity, being untrue, credulity, believing things too easily, faith, belief founded upon belief, which is nonsense, superstition, more nonsense, dogma, belief founded on tradition or a canonical text, authority, belief founded or based upon the being impressed by the authority, the charisma of, or the funny outfits of those who propose truth. And then, of course, rumors and gossip. Don't do those. I don't want to do those. Next comes complete oblivion. After death, there's nothing to follow. Just absolute emptiness for the rest of eternity. We will be gone. There's no soul, there's no God, no heaven, no hell. Just an emptiness to follow. That's what I think. And that motivates me to live well, to get up early, to do this, to work hard, to be kind, seek after and define and seek after justice, and reach out to my loved ones and make up when things go south so that I can be always ready to die. It's a catalyzing force. Excuse me. The bullseye aim is next. No, script writing. Script writing is a relatively new principle that I added. It's the principle that I use to be able to plan out my minutes and hours and days, even my weeks ahead, by writing it through in my head, imagining how things will go. It's a very powerful little tool and trick that I use pretty much every day, throughout the day. Next comes bullseye aim, a reminder that we can shoot for the mark, but we usually miss by some degree. The uphill climb, an ambition to complete the day higher up the mountain of life than yesterday, to witness a more broad and beautiful vista and view. Arena and utility. Life is this arena where we can live and interact with others, utilizing our objectives and principles like utilities, like tools along the way. Nothing is enough. A simple suggestion toward simplicity. It's much deeper than that, but I'm still exploring it. I feel like that's a very deep well, right? A deep well of nothing. You better go down. You're getting that look on your face like you're going to bite me. And lastly is the principle called the principle of fun. A reminder to seek to enjoy today, to enjoy the memory of yesterday, and to plan for the fun times of tomorrow. There we go. That's my Good Life Creed. Now, to finish up with my plan for the day. I'm going to finish this. I'll upload this. I'll read the Bible. Then I'll feed the dogs, let them out, and then fire up the computer and get started. I need to go get some blood work this morning, so I'll go to the doctor's a little later. And then from there, I'll just can go through my day, do my meetings, and plug along. It'll be a good day. And in the evening, I'll take a nice long walk with the dogs and my wife at lunchtime. And then in the evening, I'll go to the beach, go for a run, go for a swim, call it a day. Come home, have a nice dinner, walk with my wife, and watch my shows. And that'll be it. And maybe I can do another book signing in between there. While my wife's cooking. All right. That's it. My life is now done, if not finished. Take care, be safe, but not too safe. Bye-bye.